hello again. Well, I'm here at Scenic Beach. It's out just beyond Bremerton, near Hood Canal. I've been looking for a view of the Olympic Mountains to paint. So I was doing a little bit of armchair travel using Google Maps last night, looking at the different parks in the area that might have a decent view of the mountains. And I think I may have found something here. It's a beautiful day, and with a name like Scenic Beach State Park, you can hardly go wrong. Peaceful, early spring day. It's end of March. A little chilly in the shade, a little warm in the sun, which is typical for spring here in the Pacific Northwest. Nice little break from the rain and wind we've been having. Typical for spring here in the Pacific Northwest. You get these fronts that roll in off of the Pacific Ocean, especially western Washington. These storms roll through and blast you with wind and dump a bunch of rain on you, dump a bunch of snow in the mountains. So when the sun comes out, or even when the rain just gets kind of light and broken clouds, I try to get out in nature a bit and do some painting, do some walking. And I'm really grateful and happy that there are so many beautiful parks near where I live in western Washington. Lots of opportunities to get out and hike and paint. Beautiful sunlit little glade here with lots of picnic tables. Nice place to sit and eat your lunch. This spot has some potential here. Gorgeous long view there. Shadows of the trees on the beach down there. But I think I want to get down on that beach and look from there. I can see some glimpses of some snow-capped peaks over there. Those are the Olympics. So I'm just exploring right now. I think it's going to be a pretty nice afternoon. It's about midday now. I'll walk for a bit and see the sights, see what I can find, get a little exercise, and then find a place to set up. I'd love to have a view of the Olympics. There's still a little bit of snow on them. I want a place that's going to be pretty consistently lit. It's not deep shade and not real bright sunlight, and a nice flat place to stand so I'm not tripping or slipping. And most importantly, I want an inspiring view, something that really makes me want to paint it. Very easy access down to the beach. Lots of shells scattered on the beach here. Very productive waters. Wow. Gorgeous big wide open beach. That's gorgeous across there. This is the boundary of the park here. It says please do not proceed, so I think I can find something to paint without passing that boundary. This is just a gorgeous area here. I think I'll come back to this spot Look at that beautiful old tree hanging onto the edge of the slope. I wonder how many years it's been there clinging like that. That's just incredible. Got a nice wide place here to set up. I can stay in the shade. That direction is roughly west. So the sun's going to travel that way toward those peaks. So I should have a few hours at least to try to capture some consistent light on that scene. Beautiful place. Yeah, I think I'll walk just a little bit more, but I'll probably come back here. If not today, then another day. Lovely sound of the waves crashing. You've got that salty, seaweedy, fishy, but fresh smell of being on the beach. It's got that distinctly Pacific Northwest beach smell. Alright, well, yeah, I've made up my mind. I'm gonna paint this view here. I'll probably zoom in a bit so that I can capture those mountains. But I like the layers. I like the far back snow-covered peaks, and then the kind of middle ground peaks that are a little darker, and then the foreground hills that come right up to the water. And you've got that nice band of water that'll be interesting to watch as the sun travels across the scene, and then the beach with some shadows in the foreground. This is a really pretty view this direction as well. I could come back and paint that someday as well. I like that little peninsula over there, giving it a middle ground, and then the far distant hills that are really grayed out, light and value. This is nice as well, these hills. They're so far away that they almost look like Scotland or something. This as well, beautiful view with that saddle in front of those far snow-capped mountains. Really pretty spot. I'm gonna get set up and get started. As always, thanks so much for joining me. If you like these videos, please like and subscribe. I'm going to go with a 16 by 20 inch panel today. I'm going to try a Blick oil primed linen medium texture panel just to see how that works out. It's a little chilly here under the shade of the tree with a slight breeze. Not too bad, but I brought along my heavy coat just in case. Standing, especially when you're standing in something damp, even if it's a relatively mild day, you can get cold pretty quickly. So I recommend you bring layers when you're painting outside. I'm gonna do the initial sketch based on an image I cropped on my iPhone, and I'll use a medium-sized filbert to sketch the composition. I'm gonna try to skip using the charcoal again. I've got 1/3 line sketched in on my panel just to help me with the initial sketch and the composition, but instead of drawing the initial composition in charcoal, I'm just going to draw with some burnt umber paint. After that, I'll move to the turpentine wash. I'm just going to rough in the big shapes. Looking out at the scene, I'll use cobalt blue to rough in the sky, alizarin crimson for those far background hills, probably cad yellow, maybe cad yellow mixed with a little bit of burnt sienna for the middle ground hills, and then alizarin crimson for the water. Those are the colors I kind of see behind the surface color. So if I'm going to leave a color exposed, I think those would work nicely. For the foreground rock, I'll probably go with a cad yellow as well.
Did you get any good pictures? Oh, you're painting. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
Liz, don't touch.
Yeah, I'm just getting set up.
Well, it's a beautiful day to paint.
Sure is. Beautiful place.
Get out of your way.
Not bad.
Oh, no worries.
Time coming here.
Yeah.
It's gonna take me a long time, so you won't bother me walking in front of me.
Oh, okay.
Alright, now that I have the turpentine wash in, I'll take just a little bit of turpentine on a brush with a little sharper edge and draw in the snow on those far peaks. That'll be the lightest light in the scene. I'll probably also wipe out a few of the ripples on the water just to hint at the motion of the water. Well, there's the value pattern in now, and you can see I've splattered the foreground just a little bit with some darker paint. I want to suggest the rocks on the beach. I've thrown in a little bit of alizarin crimson, burnt umber, a little bit of cad yellow, just to give the range of colors I'm seeing in the rocks on the beach. I'm not sure what kind of shadow pattern I'm going to put down on the beach. I don't want just a flat, bright beach. I think I want a few shadows on there, but I think I need to play with that a bit and watch what the shadows do while I'm here. Now I'll mix up the colors for the sky and for the background mountains. And then I'll move forward in the scene. Well, there's the background mountains and the hills in. This medium texture canvas board, wow, it's very different from what I'm used to. If you want to get soft edges, use something with medium texture, linen or canvas. Wow, it is. I mean, it takes a ton of paint to cover the panel, and so as you're applying it, as you're blending it, you're just softening all the edges. I can get a little bit of a hard edge with my knife, so it may take a little more experimentation with these to determine if I even like them, because they're just so different. And the light's really been challenging. It's shifting around through the trees, and so I get a little bit of harsh full-on light, and then I get a little bit of shadow, so it's making it a little bit difficult to see, but I'm getting through it. I've mixed up a few colors now for the water. There's really just so many beautiful tones in the water. The sky's really cleared up, so getting some just beautiful cerulean blue reflections in the water. But for the most part, and what I've been noticing while I've been here, there's a darker, really grayed out lavender, more blue than red, but really grayed out. And then there's a lighter grayed out lavender that's more red than blue. So I want to go with those two tones basically and simplify that water. And then I think that'll be it. The light's changing so much now that I don't want to keep pushing it, or I'm going to be changing my mind and changing the light as it moves from afternoon into evening. But what a beautiful place. There's endless paintings that one could do here. I'm really enjoying it. It's so peaceful and beautiful today as well. Well, there's where it ended up. I just roughed in the colors I was seeing in the water. It's kind of effective. That underpainting shining through gives it a neat sparkly effect that I kind of like. I need to clean up this edge in the studio where the water line, and I need to finish the foreground. I didn't really do anything with the foreground stones here beyond the wash and the splattering I did to suggest the texture and the colors, but I think the color is right. I just need to actually paint it. I'll leave as much of that underpainting as I can because I think it'll be pretty dynamic and interesting. It's hard to judge how effective those mountains are in the painting. They're pretty loose, lots of soft edges, which I kind of like. It's so strongly backlit here now that it's hard for me to judge. So I'll take it back to the studio and adjust it a bit, clean up some of the areas that are a little too soft, and throw it out on the internet. Well, what a beautiful day. I had a great time out here. Such a lovely spot. There's endless paintings you could do in this area. Thanks as always for joining me. If you like this video, please like and subscribe.